evening. Good evening, people. Thank you for joining us on this lovely Thursday evening, February 4th, 2021. We're going to be starting the show in a few minutes. We're going to play some music until that time. So hang in there. Invite people. Invite your friends. Invite your non-friends. Invite everybody to come see the show. It's going to be a really good show. Current information. Things are happening every day. We feel a need to report on them and add some flavor and some insight. We look forward to seeing you on Facebook, 88.1 Fargo Moorhead, live streaming, and on YouTube at Duke1517, and on Twitch at A Mexican Crossing Lines. All one word together, no spaces. A Mexican Crossing Lines.
We're going to do some analysis today of the legal battles going forward surrounding the claims of election fraud, the Dominion and Smartmatic lawsuits, and new federal charges against Proud Boys.
Boy, a lot going on. The courts are busy.
Okay.
During COVID, it's a lot more difficult too. You know, they do a lot of Zoom calling, and it's a little bit more difficult when you can't hear, you can't see, you can't physically touch things. But, you know, the judges need to keep on doing their work. It's a very important part of our society. You know, that branch of government. Most people don't know they're branches of government. That the courts are, you know, the Supreme Court is one of the branches of government. Study your government. Learn how it works. And you won't get swayed by this fake news that gets put out there about things that they say that just aren't true. Because you'll know better.
Exactly. Here's the other thing. People got so complacent watching all of these people lie.
Yeah.
And they thought because they were lawyers, they weren't going to get in trouble. But it's just not how things work.
That's right. And here we go.
Welcome everyone to A Mexican Crossing Lines with your host, Cindy Gomez-Schempp.
And Duke Gomez-Schempp here.
You're listening to 88.1 FM KPPPLP Fargo Moorhead, where we are adding local color to your airwaves. And tonight, I am going to talk about all of these legal battles and kind of, you know, meander through the consequences that we're going to see, because there are consequences to lying, especially if you are a person in authority. When you do something illegal under the color of law, as an officer of the court, as a police officer, or as the leader of the country, your words carry more power and authority because you have the authority of the law. So it's different when John Q. Public says election fraud, election fraud, election fraud, and when a media outlet says it, like Newsmax or Fox News. Why? Because there are laws in civil court that say that if you defame, if you libel, or if you slander someone and it causes them damages, you can sue them. Now, normally defamation lawsuits, being able to charge someone under the law, it requires a high bar of proof. You have to be able to show that the thing that was said is a lie. You have to be able to prove that what was said was a lie. There is an affirmative defense to defamation, slander, and libel. You know what it is?
Yep.
The truth.
That's right.
If you call somebody something, whatever it is, if you say so-and-so is a, carnival barker, whatever you claim about that person, if you can prove that that's true, there's no lawsuit against you that can prevail because you told the truth, right? But if what you said can be proven false, if you have evidence and proof that what you are saying is demonstrably false, then you've made the first element of a defamation or a libel lawsuit or slander lawsuit. You've told a lie, right? And we can prove that it's a lie. The second thing that you have to be able to show is that the person telling the lie knew that it was a lie. Mm-hmm. They were aware. They didn't just like say something or repeat something that they thought was true, but whoopsie doodle, they actually were spreading falsehoods. No, they need to know. They need to have been told at some point, this is not true. You need to shut up. And then they decided they would go ahead and say it anyway. Okay? So you got to prove that their falsehood was told, and you can prove it. You have to prove that the people telling the falsehood, whether it's Donald J. Trump or whether it's Fox News, whether it's Jeanine Pirro or whoever it is, that they knew that it was a lie and they decided to go ahead and tell the lie anyhow. And the last one, the third part that you have to have, and this is just as important as the other two parts, you have to prove damages. You know, if you said that, you know, somebody so-and-so is a criminal, okay? And it's a lie, right? You have to show that statement, that publication of that lie caused damage. It was the proximate cause of losses of income, of opportunities, of business. And if you have all three of those elements, you got a good lawsuit on your hands.
Yeah.
They're hard to get. It's much more hard than what you would imagine. But if you have those elements, then you have a lawsuit. And boy, does Dominion and Smartmatic have a lawsuit. They've got open and shut cases where they can absolutely, completely... This is a boon for lawyers right now. Mm-hmm. And let me just tell you that the people that are representing Dominion and Smartmatic that have put lawsuits on a whole range of people, including Sidney Powell, Lynn Wood, Rudy Giuliani, all of the, clown car lawyers of Donald J. Trump. It also includes, and more people can be added to these lawsuits, by the way, Mike Lindell of the MyPillow company, as well as people at Fox News, specifically Maria Bartiromo. In these two lawsuits, which are close to $5 billion. Have you ever heard of a lawsuit for that much money?
No, that's a lot.
Between Dominion and Smartmatic, one is for 2.7, one is for $2.1 billion with a B. You've got close to $5 billion. And boy, that's going to do a lot of damage to a small media company like Newsmax and OAN. Mm-hmm. I don't know that they would survive those lawsuits.
No, they couldn't even pay it.
I don't think that even Rudy Giuliani, the people working over at Fox News, more likely than not, are going to, they're going to settle. Fox News is going to have to go, can we give you like $50 million and call it a day? But also we will fire these people and they will never be viewed on Fox News again. Because you got to understand, I don't think Fox News, Newsmax, OAN, or any of the other named defendants in these two lawsuits have the money to pay this settlement.
Yeah, I think they should divvy out a punishment for them. They should make them go to work for CNN and actually be a reporter, because none of those people are actually reporters.
They aren't reporters, and to your point, Duke, many of these shows actually have disclaimers. Many people from Fox News have been previously sued, like people like Tucker Carlson, and they argued that their disclaimer tells people that this is not a fact-based news show. It is an opinion entertainment show, and therefore nobody that watches actually believes the things that Tucker Carlson says. They successfully argued that in court to keep themselves from being liable for Tucker Carlson's lies.
Wow. I heard it on Tucker.
And it's not the only one. It's not the only case, but it does set a precedent in the courts that if you tell people on the disclaimer on your show that you are an opinion entertainment show, that you cannot be sued even when you lie, even as you lie, as you cause damages. Now, does that actually keep you from being sued for causing damages? No, you can still be sued. It's just not as likely for you to be able to win when someone has already told the audience, I'm a liar, I lie for a living, so nothing that comes out of my mouth can be expected to be of value, right? As Tucker Carlson has done, as other people in the media at Fox News have done. I don't believe that OAN and Newsmax have availed themselves of such a disclaimer. So they are probably more on the hook, more on the line. And maybe, perhaps, these news platforms, these, upstarts that are barely starting to walk, they have wealthy backers and donors that are going to bail out this lawsuit and pay the settlement. But they're going to settle because nobody wants this to get inside of a courtroom. Nobody, Giuliani, Powell, none of these people want this lawsuit to see the inside of a courtroom. Believe me. So they're going to settle. They're going to go. And more than likely, mark my words, remember the predictions I am making today, because you will see them come to fruition. Fox News is going to just clean house and get rid of Jeanine Pirro and get rid of Maria Bartiromo because they're too expensive. If you were an insurance company, you would tell this television station, you can't afford Maria Bartiromo. She's too expensive.
Yep.
The stuff she puts on her show is going to bankrupt you. And given the ratings loss for Fox News, given the ratings hit that these stations have taken since Donald J. Trump turned on them and turned his supporters against them, I don't know how much further Fox News can bleed, how much longer they can continue to bleed money and stay alive. But that's just my take on the whole situation. And throughout the show, I'm going to show you why I believe that one of the people that is going to soon be indicted for the insurrection, for conspiracy to commit a coup against our country, is Roger Stone. If you've never seen the movie on Netflix, a documentary about his background as a political trickster, as he calls himself. It's called Get Me Roger Stone. It's a fascinating documentary about Roger Stone, which I have covered on my programs many, many times.
Oh, yeah.
You can go find all of those at kpppfm.com. Just type in Roger Stone in the search bar, and you'll see a lot of the previous reporting I have done, looking into the background of Roger Stone and people at InfoWars and his associates in Hollywood, at Russian television news, and going through to the Young Turks. For those of you who've been following our programming for years now, you can probably remember when I did coverage on that. And it is an important lesson to go over again. So I encourage you guys to go to our website, check out the reporting, the in-depth reporting investigations that we've done on that. Consider making a tax-deductible donation to our work so that you can continue to fund independent media. And Duke, how can people get a hold of us if they want to leave a comment or participate?
That's right. Yeah, at kpppfm.com. That's our website. You're watching a live stream, or maybe you're listening on the radio right now. You can call us and leave a message on our message line at 701-566-0917. Again, that number is 701-566-0917. You can email Cindy at kpppfm.com. You can email me, Duke, at kpppfm.com. You can find us on Facebook at 88.1 FM Fargo Moorhead, the People's Press Project, the Mexi Dash Can. You can also follow Cindy's public page at Cindy Gomez-Schempp. You can see our live streams on YouTube at Duke1517 is the name of the channel. And also our new Twitch membership, A Mexican Crossing Line. It's all one word, A Mexican Crossing Lines. We're new to Twitch, but we're multi-streaming on Twitch right now, on Facebook, and on YouTube. And go to kpppfm.com/donate and make a tax-deductible donation to our station so we can continue bringing you the news. And every day we have music and other news programs and other programs all day long, 24/7 on 88.1.
You know, Duke, Roger Stone has been able to get away from lying to Congress,
Yep.
for which he was convicted.
Yep.
And he has been able to avoid some of the worst consequences because he got a pardon. He got a commutation of his sentence by President Trump, and then he had a pardon.
He also threatened Randy Credico's dog. You know, he's a dog extortionist.
That's right. So anyway, the he has managed to avoid consequences, but I'm going to guess he doesn't avoid them this time.
Oh, yeah.
And the decisions about what he does are very different for him now that Donald J. Trump is no longer president. Because you see, when he decided he would lie for the president before or keep his mouth shut for the president before, he could count and did count and asked for a pardon. He knew there was a quid pro quo there for him. But now, President Trump is no longer president. Don't tell him that because he doesn't believe it.
He doesn't know.
He's still the president.
He hasn't got the memo yet.
No. But he isn't the president anymore. And because he's not the president, he cannot offer a pardon to Roger Stone for the insurrection conspiracy crime. So he has no cover. Roger Stone no longer has any cover, any reason to lie for Donald Trump again. And folks, the real question is going to be, does Roger Stone, at the age of 68, decide he's going to spend a couple of decades in prison for Donald Trump's lie? Or does he save his own arse? What do you say? What you think, Duke?
Good use of the Old English arse, A-R-S-E. That's very good. I still don't know about anything else that could happen for Stone that could save him. You know, that and this looming federal charges coming up against him. We knew that would happen. It was spoken about right when things were happening. And actually, when he got his pardon, when the pardons came out, people always said, well, they have to be real specific, and his is very specific because he's already charged with a crime and already had a sentence that was commuted, and that's basically he wanted to have it gone because then he wanted to be not guilty, you know. And now this is a whole different set of charges. He has a lot to worry about right now.
I have to tell you, I examined all of the pardons that the president gave out, and there was a lot of them. And just like he hired Mickey Mouse lawyers for his election fraud allegations, I don't know who was left at the White House to draft these pardons.
Yeah.
But whoever it was, they also did a Mickey Mouse job. Remember, when those pardons were coming out, I told you, I don't know that they'll stick.
Yeah.
I don't know that they were written with a legal eye in mind, that they would cover everyone they were meant to cover. So those people that are relying on these pardons to keep them out of jail because of the, haphazard way the night before he was to leave office, that many of these things were done, they may not stick. They may not provide the kind of protection for the people he intended to protect that they think that it's going to provide. But let me just begin on today's show of Getting Roger Stone. We're going to talk about how he is going to be, in my opinion, how he's going to end up facing consequences this time around that he never faced before. I'm going to talk about starting with the newest lawsuit of Smartmatic, the 285-page lawsuit by Smartmatic for $2.7 billion. This defamation lawsuit that the election tech company Smartmatic filed today in state court in Manhattan is against the following people. It is Lou Dobbs, Fox News, Maria Bartiromo, Janine Pirro, Rudy Giuliani, and Sidney Powell. And boy, is this thing breathtaking. I mean, remember what I told you about the proof that you have to file a lawsuit? You have to be able to show that a lie was told and that the people that lied knew that they lied. Let's take a look at the first page of the lawsuit and go through what it says. It says, Plaintiff Smartmatic USA Corp. Smartmatic International Holding BV and SGO Corporation Limited, collectively Smartmatic, through their attorneys, bring this complaint against defendant Fox Corp., Fox News Network LLC, Lou Dobbs, Maria Bartiromo, Janine Pirro, Rudy Giuliani, and Sidney Powell. Collectively, they are known as the defendants. Here's the introduction. Number 1, the earth is round. 2 + 2 = 4. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris won the 2020 election for president and vice president of the United States. The election was not stolen, rigged, or fixed. These are facts. They are demonstrable and irrefutable. The first thing you got to prove is there was a lie told.
That's right. The earth is round.
And they start off by, listen, here's reality. The earth is round. 2 + 2 = 4. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris won the 2020 election. There was no rigging. There was no fixing. There was no stolen election. We can prove it. We have the proof. Number 2. What is number 2? The defendants, the people telling the lies, have always known the truth, have always known these facts. They knew Joe Biden and Kamala Harris won the 2020 U.S. election. They knew the election wasn't stolen. They knew that it was not rigged, that it was not fixed. They knew these truths, just as they knew that the earth is round and that 2 + 2 = 4. Meeting number 2 of the, the 3 things I told you have to have.
Exactly.
Right? They told a lie. They knew they told a lie. And what is number 3? Number 3, the defendants did not want Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to win the election. They wanted President Donald Trump and Vice President Michael Pence to win re-election. The defendants were disappointed, but they also saw an opportunity to capitalize, make money on President Trump's popularity by inventing a story, by telling a lie. The defendants decided to tell people that the election was stolen from President Trump and Vice President Pence. Number 4, the defendants had an obvious problem with their story. They needed a villain. They needed somebody to blame. They needed someone who they could get other people to hate. And that is Dominion and Smartmatic.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's very, very damaging that there are witnesses to the fact that, one, Donald Trump told people he knew he lost the election. There are witnesses to the fact that Donald Trump knew that he lost the election. There are people that worked for Donald Trump as advisors or in his cabinet that have already leaked stories to the press in which they say that Donald Trump was practicing how he was going to lie to people on election night and practicing giving the speech saying he was ahead, therefore he thought he should have been the winner, even as he knew that all of the mail-in votes were going to be counted and he would start losing by wider and wider margins. We also have the fact that almost every single one of these people, Sidney Powell, Rudy Giuliani, Fox News, Maria Bartiromo, the MyPillow guy, all of the people that have been sued by Dominion and Smartmatic have been making money hand over fist. With their MyPillow code, discount code, with their products that they're hawking, with their give me donations for the lawsuit that is not going to go anywhere, that has no legs, where I can't even spell the word district correctly. Okay? So we have the proof of the lie. We have the proof that they knew it was a lie. And we have the proof that there are damages, and there are significant damages. And let me tell you something else. This is just a suggestion, by the way, okay? But I think that all of these defendants, for their own good, if there were a lawyer that could reach them, including Donald J. Trump, they need to shut their mouths. Somebody please tell them to shut their mouths. Tell them for their own sake, for their own safety, because it seems like every single time these people reopen their mouths, they stick their foot in and they get closer to bankruptcy. They get closer to being, erased, completely left destitute, like the MyPillow guy.
Yeah, he could just scream into his pillows instead, and they can give a pillow to everyone. They can just scream into it. There's plenty of them laying around.
Duke, you recall recently that he went on Newsmax, Mike Lindell of MyPillow, went on Newsmax. And the anchor on the show got out of his chair and walked out of the room. You know why? Because he wants to preserve his career.
That's right.
In reporting. He wants Newsmax to continue to exist. And he knows that he is been put in peril by MyPillow guy, Mike Lindell. That is why intelligent broadcasters, intelligent publishers will no longer carry those lies, because they're putting themselves at a great risk of liability for doing so. And Mike Lindell is not worth it. Neither is Donald J. Trump. Trump today wrote a letter to the SAG-AFTRA people about his being kicked out of the Actors Guild.
The Screen Actors Guild of America.
Yes. He wanted to send a message that he doesn't need them, that he doesn't care about their decision to get rid of him. But you know what he did instead? He opened his mouth, or in this case, his Sharpie, and he put his foot inside of his mouth again. He cannot seem to do anything. This fool of a man cannot seem to do anything without jeopardizing himself legally every single time. That is exactly why you will not hear him testify. That is why he will not want to testify. Will probably, if he is forced to testify at the Senate hearing about the insurrection, will plead the fifth. Because every time he opens his mouth, he incriminates himself, as he did in this letter. It's just supposed to be a throwaway letter where Trump says to the sitting Actors Guild, I don't care that you want to revoke my union membership. Who gives a hoot? But look how he signed the letter. First of all, there is no office of Donald J. Trump with that seal at the top. I don't think that you can legally send this stuff out. It's February 4, 2021, right there. He is no longer president, and he is masquerading as if he were. Take a look at the signature block. What does it say? It says, regards, President Donald J. Trump. Isn't the argument of the Senate that this man is a private citizen now? That he is not a sitting president and can therefore not be impeached? Isn't that the whole argument being presented? Well, according to Donald J. Trump, he still is the president. And he still wants to peddle the lie that this election was stolen from him. So for as long as he continues to sign documents such as this one, which incriminate him, there is going to be hell to pay for him and for all of these other defendants in these lawsuits. And, you know, sadly, because I have to say, if there was ever a story of you know, fulfilling the American dreams, the My Pillow guy going from coke addict to CEO story, I mean, can you get any better? Really? It's one of those stories for the ages. But the sad thing is he's throwing it all away. And the crazy part about the people that participated in this insurrection, you know, most of the people, there's a lot of Trump supporters that have been listening to my shows, and they cannot stop comparing the insurrection to protests that happened over the summer. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to have to explain over and over and over again that you cannot compare the two things, because one was the highest crime you can commit in this country, which is to be a traitor to your oath as a citizen to defend and protect the Constitution and the laws of America. And for everyone else that was in office, members of Congress, law enforcement, and other people that participated in the insurrection under the color of law, there is even a higher bar that includes a penalty of death. It is the highest crime you can commit. Yes, looting, protesting, stealing, burning things, all of those, arson, all of those are crimes. But they are not on the level of committing a coup against your government, trying to overthrow your government, ending democracy violently while killing people. Nothing compares. And sadly, just like the My Pillow guy is going to throw away his business, throw away his company, this guy's going to be bankrupt. He has no future. None. And the radio stations, television stations that continue to bring Sidney Powell and Mike Lindell and Rudy Giuliani on their platforms to lie are also putting themselves in great jeopardy. Sadly, many of the people that attended this insurrection, about 40% of them, are business owners, career people that decided that they would throw away their livelihoods and their future for Trump, for a lie told by Trump. And this is coming from statistics that were looked at. Of the 800 or so people that actually went into the Capitol, this is looking specifically at those that are being arrested for their role in breaking in to the Capitol. A third of those people, according to the demographic profile of the Capitol rioters, is that the average age of the arrestees was about 40 years of age. 2/3 of them are 35 or older. 40% are business owners or hold white-collar jobs. This is not your typical, stereotypical extremist, which normally don't have positions as CEOs of My Pillows. They're not shop owners, doctors, lawyers, IT specialists, accountants, and the like. In fact, strikingly, according to the court documents of these folks, only 9% of them were unemployed. If you look at the regular population of earlier far right-wing extremists, suspects, and protests, 61% were under the age of 35. 25% of them, a quarter of those, were unemployed. And almost none of them had white-collar occupations. Isn't that incredible and sad that these people decided that they would throw away their future for this lie of Trump? And let me tell you, there is plenty of blame and damages to go around. Take a look at some of the other cases I'm sure we're going to be hearing about, because there are lawyers sitting around waiting for someone to drop a case like this in their lap so they can become millionaires or billionaires, which they will instantly become. Take a look at the harassment damages. This comes from the harassment suffered by two people that were working on the elections. A person in Georgia, by the way, a person by the last name Freeman, and another person by the last name Moss. According to the 8kun, Ron Watkins, the far right-wing blogs online like Gateway Pundit, and the Rudy Giuliani, Trump's attorney, the things that they were saying on social media and on media platforms about these individuals that were working on the election, these individuals were threatened with hateful messages. Freeman received at least 420 emails and 75 text messages, including one that said, "We know where you live. We are coming to get you." She had to shutter her clothing boutique. She shut down her business. Damages. She had to deactivate her personal social media pages, change her phone number, more damages, her email. Freeman reported to police that strangers were knocking on her door, more damages. The police had to add her house to their patrol area. And by the way, Ruby Freeman was specifically mentioned by Donald J. Trump in that recorded call with the Secretary of State of Georgia, Raffensperger, in which he demanded that Raffensperger quote unquote, find him 11,000 or so more votes. You may recall that phone call where he mentioned a woman and he said Ruby Freeman's name in that phone call. So Donald Trump himself is liable for the damages against Ruby Freeman because he decided he would blame a black woman working at the polling place for costing him the election on the phone call and many other places that have now been republished all over the media. Because 4chan, because Rudy Giuliani, because conspiracy theorists and liars repeated these claims. So there are going to be a lot of people like Miss Ruby Freeman who are going to be able to sue for the damages done to them. I don't know if the Secretary of State Raffensperger will sue, but a lot of people are going to sue. And let me tell you, folks, just for your edification, because here in Minnesota, on the border of North Dakota, we're in Trump country, okay, folks? We are in Trump country. And here the news media leans right very, very heavily. And on many of our local stations and our local broadcasters, Mike Lindell, whose business is from Minnesota, who said he was going to run for governor of Minnesota if the state went red, which it did not. Mike Lindell has continued to appear on the radio and in other publications, saying and repeating his lie against Dominion. As a matter of fact, he was on 1100 AM The Flag repeating those lies today. And this is what he said. He says that on Friday, he tried to finish the story that he started on Newsmax. That this Friday, he is going to unleash all of the evidence and they're going to go after Dominion. I don't know what it's going to take to shut Mike Lindell up. Obviously, this lawsuit against him is going to bankrupt him, is going to shutter his business. But other broadcasters and publishers need to be very careful that they do not allow people like Mike Lindell to destroy their businesses and publications. They need to behave the same way that Newsmax and that others at Fox News have done, because if they don't, they're going to lose their broadcasting license. They're going to lose their businesses because they're spreading lies. They're causing damages to the company. Now let's get to the Proud Boy charges, because, folks, this is explosive, okay? A lot of folks that got in trouble here, they thought, oh, you know, what am I going to do? I didn't do nothing. I took a selfie inside the Capitol. Yes, I said I'm going to go after that bench Pelosi, except they didn't use the word bench. And we're going to kill her, or we're going to do something to her. We're going to string her up. We're going to hang Mike Pence. But I was just kidding. I didn't mean any of the things I said, right? And they say, well, I'm not going to get in trouble. I'm not going to get in that much trouble because I didn't break anything. I didn't steal anything when I was in the Capitol. I walked through the Capitol. Big deal, right? I was trespassing. That's a misdemeanor, isn't it?
Yep.
I didn't really... I mean, yes, I was shouting in the Capitol building, so technically I was protesting. Protesting, that's another misdemeanor, right? No, folks, let me tell you something. When they decided to go to the Capitol to stop the counting of the electoral votes, which is exactly what they were there to do, right? Stop the steal. They impeded a government function. They impeded a government function that is in the Constitution about how we transfer power from one president to the other. And by doing so, impeding that government function, you committed a federal crime that connects to the conspiracy of the overthrow of our government. That treason thing I talked about earlier. So, folks, take a look. Members of the Proud Boys are being charged by the federal government for obstructing an official proceeding, right?
Yep.
And other charges related to the riots. Now, if you'll take a look, the gentleman that is being charged here, his name is Ethan Nordine, a.k.a. Rufio Panman, age 30, from the state of Washington. He was charged in the criminal complaint in the District of Columbia for obstructing or impeding an official proceeding. Take a look at how many years this carries. This carries a maximum penalty of 20 years in a prison.
Ooh.
20 years. And guess what? Aiding and abetting, another one of his charges, carries a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison. We're up to 30 now. Knowingly entering and remaining inside of a restricted building on the grounds of the Capitol, violently entering and disorderly conduct, two other charges. Each of them carry a maximum penalty of 1 year in prison. We're into 30 some years here for the one guy. Mm-hmm. Okay? Let's take a look at what the other guy is going to get. Guy number 2. By the way, Nordine described himself as a sergeant of arms of the Proud Boys. And Nordine was observed marching in the front of the group of people that breached the Capitol when the riot started, right? The ones that caused the most damage by going in and breaking into the Capitol at the very beginning when the whole thing got started. They forced entry. It is alleged that Nordine was near the front of the crowd with the rioters. And on January 6th, he posted on social media his intent to organize a group of people that engaged in a conflict. On December 27, 2020, he posted a message asking for donations for protective gear. On January 4, 2021, he posted a video saying, "Let them remember the day they decided to make war with us." We're talking about a war. That is exactly what they did. They wore t-shirts that said Civil War 2021, right?
Yep.
They made merchandise for this Civil War. On or about the same day, January 4, Nordine posted a video of a discussion that he had with another member of the Proud Boys. And during the course of this hour-long video, Nordine said he described he discussed what he described as blatant, rampant voter fraud in the presidential election. The lie we were talking about, that all of these billion-dollar lawsuits are based on, was repeated by this man, the Proud Boys. We're going to bring back the original spirit of 1776 of what really established the character of what America is, and it is not complacency. It is not low standards. This is how it's going to be, and I don't give a goddamn. Close quote. That's what he posted. Later in the video, Nordine says democracy is dead. Well, there's no peace for you. No democracy, no peace. I am quoting here from the charges, the federal charges against him. These are his words. He posted them on social media. The day before the riots, Nordine said in a statement on social media, "It is apparent now more than ever that if you are a patriot, you will be targeted and they will come after you. Funny thing is that they don't realize is we are coming for them. You've chosen your side. Black and yellow teamed with red, white, and blue against everyone else." On January 8, Nordine posted a photo on social media of a U.S. Capitol police officer pepper spraying on the day of the riots, January 6, where he violently entered with other Proud Boys, with a caption, "If you feel bad for the police, you're part of the problem." Remember, there is a dead officer who was just laying in the Capitol Rotunda, being honored because he laid down his life to protect our way of government, our democracy, our Constitution, and the lives of our Vice President, the Speaker of the House, and the members of Congress. Do not forget it. This is stunning, the level of the charges, the severity of the charges, and what that means. Because, folks, guess what? Somebody was raising money, as you just saw in those charges, right? Mm-hmm. Somebody was raising money for security and for gear, equipment. Now, let me tell you why this is so incriminating and problematic for the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers, the 3%ers, and anyone else who was carrying tactical gear ready for combat, and those who carried weapons, whether they be flagpoles, whether they be zip ties, flex cuff zip ties, whatever, pepper spray, bear spray, whatever these folks had. We saw it at Standing Rock. You are on a completely different level. You can't even call yourself a protester. If I hear somebody call these rioters, these people that were dressed in gear, protective gear, which they knew they were going into the Capitol violently, right? Protesters again, I'm going to flip my lid. You cannot call someone who shows up armed to commit a crime of violence against their government a protester. They are an insurgent. They are a criminal. They are a traitor, but you cannot call them a protester. Secondly, it has now been learned that not only did Roger Stone have a close connection to the leadership of the Proud Boys, and not only did Roger Stone have security set up, I call these militias security in quotes, because you're in the capital of the United States of America in a rally that you called peaceful. Mm-hmm. And there are DC police, National Guardsmen, federal police. There are so many different kinds of law enforcement in the nation's capital for an event that was scheduled, that was organized with the administration of the President of the United States at the time, Donald J. Trump, and you needed to bring militias to protect you? What? Don't you trust that Donald J. Trump can protect you? The fact that they brought their own militias is very incriminating. And here is a picture of Roger Stone with his security behind him. Those are Oath Keepers. There are Oath Keepers and Proud Boys in the mix of the people that are directly connected to providing security for Roger Stone that were in the insurrection, that were in the Capitol. What else incriminating thing did Roger Stone do? Why, he made a video saying he was the one raising the money to arm them with equipment and for their security of people going to the event. Take a listen for yourselves.
This is Roger Stone. On January 6th, I'll be speaking to the Stop the Steal peaceful protest in Washington, D.C. We're going to be protesting the heist of the 2020 election. I look forward to seeing you there. But if you can't attend, we still need your help. You see, I'm concerned about the safety and the security of our supporters, of those who will be marching with us. After the last Washington, D.C. event, 4 Trump supporters were stabbed by leftists. That's because we cannot afford all the professional accoutrements of an event. This is a pop-up grassroots event for which we need professional security. We don't have a wealthy donor like George Soros waiting in the wings to write a check to subsidize our political activism. We can only count on people like you. So to help us have a safe, peaceful event, to help us have the impact we want, to change history, and to stand up for the greatest president since Abraham Lincoln, please go to stopthesteal.org. That's stopthesteal.org, and help us pay for the staging, the transportation, and most importantly, the security of our peaceful protesters. Thank you and God bless you. I'll see you in Washington, January 6th.
And of course, we know he did not go with them.
Yeah.
Right? Just like Trump didn't go with them. He told them, I'm going to be there with you, but he didn't go.
Exactly.
He tried to distance himself because he knows that what was going to happen was a crime. But I mean, this is like a handwritten confession video. Like, he's like, I organized, staged, paid to arm the militias that went and committed a coup. And here is my video confession that I did these things. You see why I believe he is one of the sealed indictments that we will find out about in the future,
Yeah,
right?
shortly, actually.
Shortly. Because the fact that we now know he didn't just get supplies for the Proud Boys, he got supplies for the Oath Keepers in the picture with him on January 5th. And according to the federal investigation thus far, 40 to 50 of these Oath Keepers were plotting they were plotting to kill all the members of Congress.
Wow.
According to the charges against the Oath Keepers, which includes Thomas Edward Caldwell, Jessica Watkins, and Donovan Crowell, according to the Wall Street Journal's reporting and investigation, 30 to 40 of these Oath Keepers were involved in a murder plot against the Capitol Congress and the Vice President of the United States at the time, Mike Pence. And who did Roger Stone hire to protect him with that protective equipment that he was helping pay for on January 5th? The Oath Keepers. And given that the 30 to 40 of these Oath Keepers who went to Washington for the events on January 5th and 6th were involved in a plot to assassinate the entirety of the U.S. Congress, it increases the odds substantially that some of those individuals were among Stone's non-insubstantial protective detail on January 5th. And folks, what they planned to do, they discussed on a radio thing called the Zillow that was intercepted. So the feds already have their communications where they were plotting to block all of the exits, put gas in the exits that would kill the members of Congress. They discussed their murder plot. They discussed what they were doing while they were doing the insurrection. We have ample evidence of it now. So more will come out of this, and more people have liability, blame, and are in jeopardy of spending the rest of their lives in jail. I know many of the people that listen and watch my show, they don't want to hear that. They want to kill the messenger because I am interpreting what I see before me with my legal background. I'm sorry. These are just the facts, folks. The earth is round. 2 + 2 = 4. And Joe Biden and Kamala Harris won the 2020 elections and are the vice president and the president of the United States. That's the truth. That's what's happening in the world of reality. And I will be bringing you more of the reality of this world here on A Mexican Crossing Lines with your host, Cindy Gomez-Schempp.
And Duke Gomez-Schempp.
You've been listening to 88.1 FM KPPPLP Fargo Moorhead, where we are adding local color to your airwaves. Good night and God bless.